Welcome everyone, it's Evelyn. Let's go ahead and take a few deep breaths. I do have your reads for you, Metatron and the usual big twin flame read. I do have a couple pictures I need to show you from some downloads that came in. Let's go ahead and take a deep breath first. Another deep breath. One more deep breath. Sending lots of love and blessings out to you guys, sending lots of healing. And thank you all for joining me today. What is it today? I don't even know what day it is. Is it Monday? I think so. So, yeah. Okay, so I did a Metatron read yesterday, which brought in a lot of technical information about a pattern that I found, which for me was an amazing feeling. So I want to get that information out there because it may be significant to someone else who understands numbers more than I do, because I'm not a physicist or anything like that. And but it came up as soon as I started my Metatron read. So I'm going to introduce the Metatron read the way I usually do. I'm going to go into my pictures a little bit, and then we're going to finish the Metatron read, and then we're going to go into the big read on the table. So let's go ahead and roll the die first for the twin flames. Again, today's the 28th, I believe, of March 2022, which adds up to the 37, which is the King of Cups and unconditional love. And the 28 is the twin flames, or the choice of path. So very beautiful energy. I spent a lot of time this morning doing these pictures for you guys after the download yesterday, which took several hours actually. And then I had to get some tax work done as well. So I'm kind of really in a happy place that I just got to where I got to today. So let's go ahead and roll the dice, see what's coming up for you guys. For March 28, 2022, twin flames, we have Sagittarius energy coming up here. We have the number 3. So Sagittarius also associated with Jupiter. I was just making sure I'm looking at the right die. 3 is the Empress, which is Taurus, but it's also the month of March, which is Pisces going into Aries, which is where we are now in Aries. And then we also have Saturn again here, which came up not yesterday, the day before. So Capricorn, Saturn, Sagittarius, Jupiter. Okay, so Jupiter and Saturn coming up along with the 3, which is Earth and Gaia, the Mother Earth. So that's very interesting. Saturn, Jupiter, and Earth coming up. And again, we have a nice balance, right? So Sagittarius is mutable, Capricorn is cardinal, and then we have Aries, which is cardinal too, or Pisces, which is mutable. So there's no fixed energies today. It's more flexible today. Let's see what else comes up for you guys as we go on here. So besides the numbers of the day, I did the Metatron read at 2:02 p.m. yesterday, which saw a lot of 2s coming up with the space between. And I have to show you the picture of that. Where's my phone? I don't even know if I took all my pictures today. I guess I was a little out of sorts. So I don't think I even have the big picture of the main read on the table, but this is the basic read for the read on the table. I'll show that to you now so you have it in case I get away from myself a little bit. And that is the SIRIAN STARSEED deck, and then here's the Metatron read that I'm going to do for you now. And just to show you the placements on here. So this is the underlying energy in the first column. This is the bottom of the deck, and this is below the bottom of the deck. This is the first card out, and I go across for 12 cards here, and then another 3, 15, and then these 3 to 21. The cards at the bottom are extra cards, which are usually like an addendum or PS type of energy. And that's where we are now. The Metatron read again was done at 2:02 yesterday afternoon. The bottom of the deck was the Boundaries card, and the first card out was the Lilac card, which is all about mastering the mysteries of life, and the Page of Swords. And the Boundaries card has the 14, which is the Temperance card of patience and balance, and that higher love. And the colors that came up were lilac, yellow, blue, white, green, and gold. So let's see, we have the yellow to the green heart, to the blue of the throat chakra, and then it skips, there's no indigo here, so it skips the third eye to the crown and the white energy, so very much about the crown and above with gold as well, and then the middle section of the solar plexus up to the throat. There's a focus there today, and also with the white there's purification energies coming in there, and the gold reaching for that consciousness of the unity consciousness. The elements that came up in this read were air and water today. And so as soon as I wrote the cards down for the read today, that's when my messages started coming in regarding the pictures I'm going to show you now. So as soon as I finished writing the cards down, I was getting the symbol of for me, the lowercase I is the chakra system, right, where the dot of the I is the third eye. Which also reflects the exclamation point, right, which is that aha moment, which started this whole thing. So you see the two, this is what I was just referring to. So this is the lowercase I, and then here's the exclamation point. How they come together is the number 1. 1 equals the 2 together here, okay? So here we have the numbers 1 through 9, okay? But instead of 10 being over here, they were showing me the patterns should start over here. And what I was getting is, I showed you the pod the other day of how the 6 and the 9 come together to make the 8, and there's that pod of that two-eyed needle of the black hole, that push and pull of the twin flame quantum energy. So it was very significant. And again, that's the 6 and the 9 coming together to make this pod here of the 8. So what they were doing was backing me into the other numbers to back me into how this pattern and how this works and what it means. So here we have the 10 reflecting the 01, going from the other cycle to the new cycle, and then the 2, 3, 4, 5. So instead of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in the 3s, they were bringing up 3 sections of 4 numbers. And it does always work that way, that an odd and an even number go together, just like the feminine and the masculine. That's how it works. And as Dan Winter was talking about, the pentagon and the hexagon come together in the DNA. In the strands, between the latter, the genes. So again, there's this section of 10 going into the 1, so the old cycle going into the new cycle, and also this references source coming into touch with you as a newborn, and then going from the 0 to the 1, and then going into the first cycle, and then the second cycle here, which is referencing, just like the 6 and the 9 come together to make the 8 pod, so do the 2 and the 5, who exactly reflect each other to become the 8 in the pod as well. So these two reflecting and these two reflect to become the pods, which is the two-eyed needle of the black hole, where that twin flame energy also represents the toroidal field, the torus. So as you see here, the 0, 1 is the all, the 10, the 1 of the 0, 1. Here is the key and the lock in this section, where the key and the lock and both doors are all one and the same, whereas here they're different. So this is coming into source energy as a human being, like first coming into being a human being, okay? And then we go into this cycle, which is basically the victim cycle of that lower energy of 3D, where the 2 is the locked door, the 3 is the key, the 4 is the lock, so this is like the lock here. This is the lock, and then the 5 is the open door. Okay, so just to give you an introduction of what that says, and I'm going to read some of my notes here first, and then we'll go back to that picture because I have a couple other pictures to show you as well. So the 0 to 1 is the connection outside ourselves, but from within. So that's basically God energy birthing us, right? And the first step of that lowercase I of the chakra system, and then the exclamation point, which is that aha moment or the epiphany. That 2 is the locked door of the 3D unity Christ consciousness, and 4 unlocks the freedom from that survival mode of the prison planet to the 5, which is freedom, and now the door is open. Okay, so that's where we've been. The second section here is where we're going. This is the 5D, this is the 3D, okay? So what I was getting, this pattern, I'm calling Evies lock. And Evies lock also has a meaning to it, so I'm going to get to that as well. The E is energy, it's kinetic energy, and the V for me is creation. And then the lock has the K, and the K was very significant here, because usually K can mean energy. The K is actually the kinetic energy. And it means other things for other uses, depending on what you're using K for, whether it's math or something else. But it's also, you notice, the 1 and the less than is what makes up the K. So the 1 in my example here has the 2 dots on either side. And then the K, which is the 1 with the less than symbol. So just keep that in mind as I'm talking here. So 1 is equal and congruent to, which is my letter E. Let me go to another picture. We may go back to that one. All right, so here is Evies lock. This is my key. So the E has that long line on the top to show that it's a long E, says Evies lock, but also because that line above and the line here, but not attached, is one approaching the field of possibilities, which these 3 lines means equal and congruent to. The V of creation, the lowercase I of the chakra system, here and here, and then the E and the S, where the E is the cracked egg, open, the crown, and the S of the sine wave, connected to the sine wave. The L is that right angle right here, at the right angle of the 0, or the O, which becomes elongated, which shows movement, elongated human embodiment of source energy on the C of the whispering bench, with quantum push and pull of the twin flame energy, or the 2 twins sitting on that whispering bench. And then the K, which is that 1 and the less than symbol, at the point of liquefaction, like a portal, like you see in the movies, that big wall of water, which Dan Winter's been talking a lot about with Elena Denon, which is what spurred this on for me. So this K is representing that point of liquefaction at that watery portal, you know, that looks like the illusion, like you're out in the desert and you're seeing things. It's kind of like that energy, or like oil in a puddle, where it's liquid, but it seems like an illusion, like a mirage. So this K is representing that portal field, that water field from the side, where you have to get through that portal here, and this is pointing towards that, but it also means less than. So this is at that point of liquefaction where the implosion meets the heart. And then again, the exclamation point and the lowercase I of the chakra system, of simultaneous knowing of the chakra system and the epiphanizing of that exclamation point of self-similarity or metaphor. Okay, so I'm going to go through some more of my notes about those 2 pictures, and then we'll sum it up. So, and then when I wrote this in my notes, the aha moments about epiphanizing and all that, in the now moment, it was literally 2:52 after I just brought together that pattern of the 2 and the 5, which match each other exactly in reflection, as well as the 6 and the 9. The aha moments, or epiphanizing, and then it was 2:52 p.m. So they were guiding me to break down the p.m. as well, because the P is and this is my old picture about the pin, when I first drew this pin to show you the example of the energies regarding pi and phi and how it all works together. So here's, like, you see this little student over here, which is two pi's, but they're actually reaching outside themselves, becoming the phi, right? So the pi is the line on the top, right, the graduate, the twin flame masters here, the angelic humans at 0 point. And again, this represents phi because the line's going outside the circle. And again, the circle for me is the human being containing source energy here. So divine feminine, divine masculine, etheric integration. What did I write there here? The chakra system balance. So again, when you're writing pi, when it's not outside the lines, it's just referencing a human who's balanced. But when it goes outside the lines, that goes into the phi energy. So here we have the two humans connected, which makes the infinity symbol. And then over here, again, referencing the feminine over here, the masculine over here with connections. And then again, the toggling upward, meditating, things like that. The anchor, again, anchoring down of the masculine, the 3D gate holder and the 5D gate holder with support, right? There's support here. And then again, the magnification was coming up here too, referencing that, the way you can see planets depending on how far they are away, how bright they are. And again, with twin flames, it was coming up as if you're a twin flame, then you're able to see your aura. If you are in the top pod here of soulmates, like this is the twin flame, if you're in a very close soulmate energy with somebody, then you may have 39.81% brightness of the aura. But if you are not in that energy outside of this pod here, then it's 1% brightness, so it makes it harder to see the aura, like most people. We don't normally walk around just seeing auras. So there's something about the aura that was coming up to magnitude of brightness right there. So then we have the number of magnitude, and these two are the wrong way around. It's supposed to be the 314 in the bottom, but it's Illustrator, so I didn't notice because I was so busy trying to draw all these things at the time I did this. And I did go back in to try. I can't find the original Illustrator that I drew this on, but I'll have to correct that at one point. But anyway, the 314 should be on the bottom, the 2512 on the top. And this has to do with the magnitude of brightness to the second magnitude, which you notice equals 0.8. So 3.14 into 2.512 equals 0.8. So again, we have the infinity symbol of the twin flame dance. And here's my pin where you see the green. Well, this is the masculine with housing, but without his connection to his higher self. If you just take that higher part, which is the P, okay? And then the orange is the feminine part, where her part opens and collects energy from the sun, goes into her, and then goes into the green of the masculine, where he houses, the pin closes, and it becomes a vacuum inside, right? They're vacuum sealed between you, right? You have that sealed connection between the two of you. And then when the energy gets used up by the masculine or the feminine, then the pin drops open again to get more sun or more energy through meditation. And again, the energy of pi and pp was coming up as the twins fluid in a vacuum, and the phi equaling the pi plus h, which is also the 8. For me, I always reference the 4 as the 8, the 5D as opposed to the 44 being the 3D energy lap dance, the 8 being the do-si-do, the upright dance. So this was my original picture, so you understand where I'm coming from when I talk about that. And I kept talking about bringing the picture up, so I remembered to bring it up today. So when the PM came up, the reason why I wanted to bring this up, because the P is the masculine here, but without the connection to the higher self down here, where the feminine and the masculine come together here. But the top part is the housing. So he has the housing and he has himself. And the M references a lot of different things for me, but initially it was the Mary energy, half of that being the capital M, which is for me is the Jesus energy. So it's literally the Mary and Jesus, and you can reference that as Mary Magdalene or the Mother Mary, right, with the child within. But the PM was coming up as the masculine who is not connected with his higher self, and then the M. So what I wrote down here was the pin moment, which I'm showing you now, the picture. Sorry about the smoke. I didn't realize that this one doesn't burn very easily, but apparently today it's burning like crazy I guess it needs it. So PM also comes up as piss monster. It's funny that piss came up here, pee-pee, because my roommate in college, she brought home 2 kittens to live with us, and one of them she named Piss Monster because it pissed in the back of the car on the way home, and because he looked like night, PM. So PISS monster seeking the BLISS monster here with the PM and 252 of my pattern that I discovered here. But the Divine Masculine still needs to start his ABCs, talking about 1, 2, 3. And you know that came up in my last video. And then Dan Winter was talking about the alpha to beta, which is the golden mean wave of going from the alpha wave to the beta wave, which equals perfected Schumann harmonics. And he talks about the tomb Planck. So Planck is his own formula, but Dan Winters was talking about it as the tomb to Planck. So that's his words, not mine. But it references that alignment, and I'll show you a picture of that in a second, of the alignment as opposed to the perpendicular energy at the implosion through the wave into the center. So as the energy comes in and implodes, outside that mouth at the bottom of the V is an equal line, equal sign instead of a perpendicular sign. That's what he's talking about, the tomb Planck harmonics there. The perfected Schumannic harmonics is the alpha wave to the beta wave, or the golden mean wave. And then what I was getting here, or the Schumann's resonance, right? Because the Schumann for me is Mr. Ed, which is the Schumann's resonance, which also then Geppetto and Mr. Ed came up, which ED is also extra dimensional, coming together to make wood turn into a real live boy. And buoy has come up before as well with boy, right? And today it was coming up, I watched the movie I, Boy the night before, so here we have boy with the I, Boy, which is my symbol of the I with the 2 dots on top and below. And so this was all coming together to create something more to come up. So that's when I got to my explanation that I just went over with you of the one approaching the field of possibilities for Evies lock, or Evies lock actually, and that was at 3:04 p.m., which there you go with the odd and the even number of the Emperor and the Empress coming together. So the one approaching the field of possibilities, so going back to that picture again, here, equal and congruent to creation of the V with the I of the chakra system and the E of the cracked egg opening the crown, the ES of connected to the sine wave at that right angle of the L, which is, and then the elongated 0, which shows movement, right? Going from a round circle to an elliptical circle shows movement, or another perspective of the circle as well. The human embodiment of source energy on the C of the whispering bench with quantum energy, that push and pull, at the point of liquefaction of that K with the 2 dots, where implosion meets at the center, meets the heart of simultaneous knowing and epiphanizing of the lowercase I chakra system and the exclamation point of that aha at the same time, which is self-similarity and or the metaphor. So then it was then I went back to that 252 number at that now moment of the PM, and the pin moment, where remember the other day the pentagon came up, and the pen means pin and pent. They all mean the same thing basically because they all define as each other. But also the tagon was the fuel, or the day of the sun. So the energy that fuels the pen or the pin or the pent. And then it also means, it's pentagon. Agon means argon. So the gas argon was coming up again as well. Or the PISS monster meets the BLISS monster, but the Divine Masculine, as that P in the pin, has housing only and must first go back to ABC, talking about 1, 2, 3, and then going to the Dan Winter comment about the alpha wave to the beta wave is the golden mean wave, which equals the perfected Schumann harmonics of tomb de Planck, which I'm going to show you the little drawing there. So there's that tomb de Planck. Sorry, I don't even know where my finger is there. Okay. Where are we? So this is that picture here, right? So at where you have the wave here coming in and implosion energy going towards the center of the toroidal field, and it's aligned here as opposed to perpendicular energy here. And again, that's Dan Winter always talking about implosive compression. Or the Schumann's resonance, Mr. Ed, or the Schumann. Geppetto and Mr. Ed are extra dimensional, coming together to make wood turn into a real live boy, and then I, Boy was coming up, so here's my symbol for I, Boy, with that I of the 1, which includes the lowercase I of the chakra system and the exclamation point of the aha moment, and the boy, which B is 13, and then the O, and then this is the Y in the road, the 0 point field right there. So the transition of that aha moment simultaneously with your knowing of the chakra system, transitioning into that 0 of that source energy at 0 point field, which is that Y. So then it was 322 of the 3 of the Earth and Gaia, the Empress, and the 22 of the Fool's Journey, and again the 2 2s coming up, and the reflecting of the 2 and the 5, of the simultaneous knowing and epiphanizing, transition of human at 0 point. The key to the journey is literally 3 and 22. So then I was getting that if the 3 is key and the 7 is the key, the 3 is the Christ consciousness of unity to become aware, and the 7 being the key also in that higher energy, connecting to the field, right, because we're connecting to that portal energy of the pod, we need the 7 key to open up that field and then ground us into the other side, the other dimension. So just think of a 7 and then it turned the other way like a key. Right, you put it in the lock, and then you turn the 7, and then it's in the other dimension, so now you can ground into the other side, flip over into the other dimension. Or it could be returning from the other dimension with the pod there. Because the 2 to the 5, so again the 2 to the 5 here, because the 2 to 5 is the jump-off point, remember the 5th dimension is also a jump-off point to all the other dimensions. So once we get to the 5D, then we have access to everything else. Because the 2 to 5 is the jump-off point to all the other 6 to 9 dimensions available, and of course there's more dimensions above 9, but we're just talking about the first 9 numbers right here. And then for me, the co-creation symbol is the 2 eyes, so these are the 2 twins chakra systems and the creation between, this is co-creation. And then I was getting the K with the alignment symbol around it, because literally, if you look at this carefully, when you turn this over on its side, it's literally my eyes with the V, except the dots have dropped to the bottom of the V. You see that? Where here, they're up at the top, but this picture, these dots have dropped down to the bottom. So where the K is 1 and less than or equal to, with those alignment energies, which I was getting as 1, which is less than or less than yet equal to all possibility, where co-creation aligns the 2/3 eyes with the 0 point, or the point of liquefaction, that portal energy of going in space and going to another dimension. With that symbol of the tomb plank energy that Dan Winters was talking about, of alignment as opposed to being perpendicular or hitting head on, of the twin flames unified in a field of possibilities, able to ground from any realm. So 2/3 eyes in a vacuum where X marks the spot. So again, here's that energy of the X of the twins here, but it's actually, there's 2 X's together here, right? We have this X, and then there's another here and here, but you also have this line here and here. So it's actually 2 X's, sorry, you can't even see my finger. There are 2 X's coming together here and here, and then this line, and this line is another X coming together, where the X represents the masculine and feminine. Instead of turning a quarter turn, which just makes it the same shape, turns an 1/8 turn each coming together to do the dance instead. Where 2/3 eyes are in a vacuum, where X marks the spot, which then the picture I just showed you is the toroidal field, right? This is the toroidal field, and talking about implosion when it becomes sealed off, and the implosion is towards the middle, and then it has to explode outward because there's no way out here. So where 2 are aligned in the 8th dance of the X, which are 2 straight up lines coming together an 1/8 or 45 degrees, each come together at 45 degrees to create that right angle, right? So 45 plus 45 is that 90-degree angle. But they're doing it half and half instead of all at once. With a chord, which notice chord is also harmonics, the chord between the twins, between them, is sealed within a vacuum. 2 toroidal fields, which your body is a toroidal field, together. And then the four-phase conjugation, or swastika, was coming up, because Dan Winters was also talking about that the two of these toroidal fields coming together, right, with the hourglass in the middle, and then the other lines showing another toroidal field, really, where you have the X of the energies coming together of the swastika. But the swastika wasn't always a German thing. It was a very spiritual thing, which many religions still use it in different ways, not at the angle that the Nazis use it. So that was coming up as significant, because the swastika just shows movement. It's like a windmill, right? We have to take back the distortions that they created regarding anything. So anything that has to do with numbers, it's all in your perspective and what you see. It doesn't have to be what they've decided to deem it as. It's always your choice to see what you want to see. So then Dan said, because when Elena had talked about the Hopi Indians and the number 9, Dan literally said, this was so cool. He said, well, it wasn't so much the 9, but it was 1 less than 10 by the way of the 9, which is exactly what I drew here. 1 less than 10 by the way of the 9. So I put the 10 over here instead of here, which is literally drawing that statement. 1 less than 10 by way of the 9, which is a Hopi statement per Dan Winter regarding that 9 energy. So, and the 9, you know, the spirit, the 9 that people communicate with, whether it's Elena, whether it's the Hopi Indians connecting with the 9, and whether it's, you know, Magenta Pixie connecting with the 9. There's all different perspectives of what the 9 is, but that's what they were talking about, the connection of the 9, and how powerful the 9 is of infinity, but also the completion, right? Because the 9 never nears the end. You can get close to the 10 and the 100 if you keep going 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, but you're never going to reach it, which is kind of like the twin flame journey, right? You can keep making it closer and closer to the end, but you're never actually going to hit the end because it's infinity. So then I was going back to, I looked up some symbols, and by the way, I found an article on the Planck formula, because I wasn't familiar with it at all. But I love the Tomb-Planck statement that Dan used, because the tomb is the third eye. And one of the formulas that came up under this Planck article, describing the Planck experiment, was this: K, which is that kinetic energy to the max, and there's the EV, which I just did the Evies lock. So here's like Evies kinetic energy to the max, and that's part of the formula for the Planck formula. And that was from smc.edu, and it was called Experiment 12, the photoelectric effect and Planck's constant, so they were testing it. And I was looking up some math symbols, and by the way, when I had a really hard time finding symbols before, and then I just came across this website for math symbols that was amazing. It had everything. So it's called symbolsrapidtables.com. So if you're looking for a symbol, especially when it's related to math or anything like that, they have tons of tables in there, and they're really good. Symbolsrapidtables.com, so check that out. So integer, remember, as we talk about whole numbers, and we forget from, you know, elementary school and junior high school, but the integer is that whole number, 1 through 9, and it's the capital N, which for me is the Christ energy of wholeness. That's really funny how it comes together, because I forgot the definition of integer. And then F is frequency in the math formula here, and the E is the energy, and the K is the kinetic energy. The H is the constant, the lowercase h here. So those were some of the symbols that were coming up here. And that the VS, the lowercase e, was the electronic charge, which I was just talking about it being the egg cracking open or the crown opening up, and here it's the electronic charge. And then the V to the lower s there is the stopping potential. The Planck waves of energy are discharged in small packets called quanta. The particle to the molecule to the atom to the protons to the quarks to the preons. So we're getting smaller and smaller and smaller here, just like nearing the end, going bigger and going smaller. You're never going to get to the end, because they both are infinitum, right? You can't get to the end. You can get closer and perfect it, but you can't get to the end. So Then I found a site, it's called comsol.com, C-O-M as in Mary, S-O-L.com, where they had people's tombstones because his name came up on a tombstone there, Max Planck. But also Max Born was there because they had their math formulas on their tombstones, which was kind of interesting. One was in the was just saying that the lowercase h for constant and Planck's constant has to do with the name. It's a German name that means auxiliary quantity. And then Max Born came up as a tombstone at this website as well, who introduced quantum mechanics, and his formula, which is PQ minus QP, equals the h, the lowercase h, over 2 pi lowercase I. Non-commutativity of quantum mechanical quantities is what was coming up with him. But again, he introduced quantum mechanics, and I don't have a math background, not professionally anyway, so I don't know any of this stuff. So then it was 420, which is the Emperor, and the 20 of Judgment, and the constant was coming up as the Lovers and the Prison expanding out from within, with the 3 of the triangle and the 4 of the square, and the energetic exchange, where then the W is the E falling down of the energetic exchange, not co-creating, since the IVI of my co-creation symbol, or the M, which is Mary and Jesus together, co-creating, this 2 sine waves coming together is coming up from this formula. 2 sine waves coming together is the DNA strand, right? And also the 8. The dance of the divine masculine and the divine feminine to balance the how did I get to that again? So they were taking me to the symbols of 3 and 4 and why we have to put the odd and the evens together all the time, right, to create balance. And then I was getting to the divine feminine, divine masculine down here, and I was going to this is again, which is like the toroidal field, right? So these are like the circles of the toroidal field with the hourglass in the middle, but it's also the whispering benches on either side, and then the twins dancing in the middle. The twin flame in their echo chamber of 2 grieving, because 45 degrees is 45 of the 5 of cups, which is the grieving card, the purging card. So the twin flames in an echo chamber of 2 grieving, or at that 45 degree angle times 2 and coming together for the X, creating that swastika symbol, but not of Hitler, and Hitler's just has to do with the degree that he shows it on. But in the Thule Indians, they use the reversed swastika with a circle in the middle, which is called Kikir, K-I-K-I-R, which means octopus, but it's also Mother Earth birthing through the water. The tree of life turning in the water of life was the explanation they gave there. Okay. So at 442, which is the Emperor and the 2 of Cups, going back to the read again, the underlying energy was the Akashic records and doing research, which I had just finished doing a whole bunch of research. And connecting with family and circles of life and having self-satisfaction in between, taking breaks, making sure you have happy time too, with gatherings at sunrise and sunset. Set boundaries daily of what you will and won't accept, in a higher love with nature, aligning with the sun and the central sun and the core of Gaia. So again, this also came up, remembering to do the alignment of grounding yourself from your heart, but specifically Dan Winters was bringing this up again. I think it was Dan who said this about going from your heart to the core of the earth, to the sun, to the central sun, and then back to your heart again, which again is what we do when we, go into our meditations. Usually we ground to the core of the earth and then up to the sun, but also talking about going to the central sun first before coming back to your heart. And literally the suns are portals. So you're going through portals and then connecting back to your heart. So again, the three of the triangle and the 4 of the square. But also the Y comes up as could be a triangle, but it's more of the circle, and then the X is more of the square. So again, the play on the Y chromosome and the X chromosome, and the odd and the even. And how they are aligned, like the solar plexus, with all the coiled. So in looking at chromosomes, right? The chromosomes are shaped like X's or Y's, and within the chromosome legs, which look like little ice cream cones, within them is coiled up the DNA strands really tight, like our intestines are, same type of thing. So within those legs of the chromosomes are all of the DNA strands, all compacted up like our intestines. So it's literally representing your intestines. The DNA strands, or the intestines, are tied up in knots. So then they were taking me to the 3 and 4 again, which equals the 7. And remember, the 4 to 7 is that sweet spot I talk about erring to the side of the light, which is, 6 or 7 is that sweet spot. The pentagon and the hexagon that Dan talked about that are in DNA, the way the genes are set up in there, there's an odd and an even in each segment along the ladder. And what I was getting here is the as opposed to the 3 and 4, as in my symbols here, the 3 and 4 here and over here, going to the 5 and 6. 3, 4, but getting to the 5 and 6, so jumping to the new range over here is going from expansion and contraction to 5 and 6, which are the pentagon and the hexagon, which Dan Winters talks about as distribution and stabilization. So think about that. So when you're in the survival planet 3D mode, it's all about the expansion and contraction because we're at extremes, right? The key of expansion and the lock of contraction, the key of the masculine and the lock of the feminine, saying no. It's like that caveman mentality. But then when we get to the 5 and 6 and we go to this new dimension over here, we have the pentagon and the hexagon together, which are about distribution and then stabilizing that distribution as opposed to expanding very greatly and then contracting very greatly. It's like more of a severe energy. So the distribution and stabilization is referencing the open door and the locked door of the masculine and the feminine. But again, I just was giving you the 3D volatility versus the 5D stability of receiving distribution and then grounding, integrating, and mastering of how to receive love, how to stabilize it. So then back to the read again was the castle on the cloud. The castle on a cloud. And today it was coming up as the, see if I can find that card for you. It's about the masculine and feminine coming together, right? So masculine and feminine ends just like the penis and the vagina, just like you learn when you're little. But I don't usually see the castle on a cloud that way, but today it is. But I want to show it to you because there's, lots of different ways you can see that card here. Here we are. Okay. So here's the castle on a cloud card. Okay. So a lot of times I'll get the energy of the rocket taken off. Okay. But today it was as this is the penis with the trail of energy over here, and today it was coming up as the masculine and the feminine, right, coming into the housing over here. And you can see that. You can say whatever you want, it doesn't matter. But I was also getting the difference between the shape of the doorway here, right, and then the peaking here of this energy here, and against the purple moon, which is the 0 point field. So it's coming up as that triangled arced energy. But when you see this energy, this triangle like this, it's because there's arcing going inward, imploding inward, as opposed to arcing outward, right? Because if you did a straight triangle, you wouldn't see those curved edges like this. And normally if it was arcing, it arcs outward, right? But this is arcing inward. It's implosion of a triangle. So the energy of that implosion was coming up, the triangle arced inward, and perhaps creating a vacuum. Again, the energy of that arced triangle being the feminine energy, and the doorway with the trail being the masculine energy coming in to the station, basically, with the castle on the cloud, the chromosomes and spirals and sine waves aligning here as complements, as the divine masculine, divine feminine, as opposed to competing opposites, right? Right, competitors are that T, like time out, like going against each other, as opposed to aligning and coming into the station together. And then perpendicular, literally broken down, you notice, is perpendicular. And cular means horn or tusk or bundle or ring or to chant. So the perpendicular is literally the P of the masculine housing without being connected to its higher self, of the masculine with housing and their horn and their bundle and their little mouth, little keys, small talk and rumors, which was literally the definitions that came up here. And I love how they do that. It's really cool. So the 1 and the 2 of the odds and the even comes up as the caveman and their other, right? The woman doesn't really have a definition back with the caveman. She's just someone to make babies for the caveman, right? And 1, 2 is buckle my shoes. The higher the number of the pair, just like when you notice doing numbers when you're printing out photos, right? The closer they are together, the higher the number, the more, what am I thinking? The more square it is, right? So a picture that's 9 by 10 is close to a 10 by 10 or a square picture. So it's close to perfect, but it's not quite there yet. But the 1 and the 2 is that lower degree energy, right? The higher the number of the pair, going from 3 to 4 and 5 to 6, the closer, more similar they become. Like the extremes of the masculine and feminine, right? The caveman and Betty Boop type of energy, going to the feminine and masculine, who are each in control and sovereign of their own masculine and feminine, who come together because they're so much alike. Whereas the polarities are opposites. That's where opposites attract in the old energy, but similars attract in the new energy. And that's why it's confusing, because you'll hear both of those statements, that opposites attract or like attracts like. Well, there's why you have both of those statements, because when you're in that lower vibration, opposites attract, but when you're in a high vibration, like attracts like. So 3 plus 4 is basically the ego man and the female who contracts or gets afraid of him because he may be a little bit intimidating. She may shut the door. But then the 5 to 6 is the free man, the distribution, and the female who loves and stabilizes the energy instead because she's not as intimidated. Remember, 5, 6 is pick up sticks. Perhaps she's picking up some music for him. And then we have the 7 to 8 of the key and the lock, the calm and the storm. They're together and open to all that is. Remember, 7, 8 is lay them straight in alignment. And then 9, 10, of course, is begin again, which is infinite into the new dimension, the diamonds connection. And so the tetragrammaton was coming up right after that, and Spirit's connecting with me about this, that the tetragrammaton is the thing I just told you about, of aligning from your heart to the core of the earth, to the sun, to the central sun, and back to your heart. That is the tetragrammaton. Your heart, the core of earth, the sun, and the central sun. There you go. That it's all about the child here. So this is the way it was coming up, and this was at 5:55 too. The way it comes up is the heart is source, earth is the mother, sun is the father, and the central sun is the child. It's all about the child. And that was at 5:55. So the castle in a purple moon, to infinitum, never nearing the end. With the page of swords, which is 54, there's the odd and the even number again, transitioning to fly free in the diamond light. And the octahedron was coming up there, which is those 2 square pyramids coming together, 2 4-sided pyramids coming together. And that was at 5:56. So what integer means, besides whole numbers, is untouched, sound, fresh, whole, entire, pure, and honest, having integrity, right? That perfect person who everyone aspires to be. And it also means to touch, to be friendly, intact, and trustworthy, or in other words, be willing to reach out to others and have others reach out to you. And so the energy of the X, right? Not the plain X, but the variable X, where it moves, it has movement. which means unknown, right? When you're doing math problems, the x is the unknown variable, which is the absolute value. So that more symbols were coming up here because the backward E, that very squared E, means there exists in math. And there's just some other symbols that are coming up, like the upside down A, which means the upside down capital A means for all in math. So the upright A is that rocket ship or TP I was talking about, which is the opposite of for all, which is for one, which is then the all for one and one for all expression, but coming up with the symbol of the A in the upside down A. So the KIPPER, the backward swastika, I just want to say sticker. Where are we here? Okay, so the KIPPER, the Thule Indians, which this word means octopus, but also is the symbol for their flag here, which is the backwards swastika with the circle in the middle, the Mother Earth and the water. And then falling, it's the energy of the falling into oneself, like the donut of the toroidal field, of the moment of bliss that Dan Winter was talking about with Elena as well. That bliss of the donut folding in within itself of the torus. And the 8, because the 8 is also the toroidal field, right? The apple of the two cheeks with the sands of time down the middle. The 8 is coming up with infection. The KIPPER, that word KIKIR, was coming up as KIKI, which is key. It's funny because my sister's nickname for my mom when she was little was Kiki Wump. So the Kiki here is 2 keys and the R, which is like hour. So 2 keys are hour keys. Coming up from this word KIPPER, which is that reference for octopus, and falling into oneself like the donut and the donut torus or toroidal field. And the 8, remember with the pearl threaded, it has to do with the clam and the oyster, right? When you seal yourself up, there's always a way bacteria is going to find its way in and cause an infection, which then creates the pearl, the beautiful thing inside you. But pus was coming up here because of octopus, and there's that pus of the infection getting in, but also it was coming up with the definition here with pus, because that's also the puss of the cat and the smooch. It lists all the ways that infection can get into you, right? Through the mouth, through smooching, through being able to, through matter, right? Your physical matter and other physical matter, but also a way to get in you is by knowing that you matter. The cat, haze, being in a haze, you get vulnerable, so that's why something can get in. And more, move or more. And steam bath was also coming up. So steam opens up your pores. It's another way that bacteria can get in. Okay? So, and again, the pussycat, that's a vulgar reference, but any orifices in your body is a way that bacteria can get in. So our keys is the spin backward, or to fall back within ourselves, getting into what is locked within us, whether it be through the mouth or the vagina or kissing or ingesting food. The infection, the haze, the stream, to learn how is another way of getting into you, to use matter or just matter to self, or the keys here, about folding in within each other or into each other, into that bliss energy of making love. So here's that, again, one for all. So if this upside down A means for all, one for all and all for one. Okay, one for all and all for one is another way of writing it. Also, it can be as one for all and all for one. One implodes and explodes one. That's another way of writing it. So at 7:02, which is the chariot and the 2 of the high priestess, it's really smoky in here, talking about haze. You are the key, and what you ingest, what you can unlock within yourself. Oh, before I go on, because now I'm going on to that, I want to show you the last picture that I brought up here, because I always forget to show this to you. This is 2 toroidal fields together. And you see how it looks like 2 eggs, Easter eggs, opening up and flowering like this? And this is like the X I was just showing you. It's not just the implosion one way or the other, but this is like the swastika or energy of the four pieces, but moving. But anyway, this is literally these two toroidal fields. That's what this is together in two different directions. So that's another, and you see how it shows you the Celtic cross right here. It's all in two toroidal fields coming together. And it's the energy of movement here of the eye, right, and the lens of the camera, that third eye energy as well. Okay, and of course the flower of life coming up right here. And notice that there's a circle in the middle of the Celtic cross, which is what I just was showing you with that, the native tribe uses that circle of water in the middle of their swastika in the reverse to reference the water and the mother. So you are the key in what you ingest, what you can unlock within yourself, peeking out through the keyhole of your door, getting a message from the castle in a cloud, through FTD messenger perhaps, or mercurial delivery. Archangel Sandalphon or Saint Dolphin, the path of Mu and Lyra, the fool's journey, with flame in hand, holding the keys, and dance and answer the call of sewing you all together in the pearl threaded. The twin diamonds in the sky, how I wonder why, at the 0 point, at the Y in the road. The twin flames untying the knots in the electromagnetic field, the E of energy and electric and one equal and congruent to, and the M of co-creation and Mary and Jesus within, the magnetic field. The field of phi and expanding and contracting, or just reflecting in the middle and growing up, getting old or inflamed or swollen and getting bigger, filled with fluid or pus, to put out the fire or frustration, and thus tears come out. With the aqua rose gold heart, happy tears, liquid sunshine, and the fountain of youth, which all came up the other day. In the love relationship at 723, which is the Chariot and the King of Wands, the love relationship in harmony, where our chords, the chord between the twins, or the harmony together, and the beautiful music it makes, or off-key, which then brings up dis-ease. From wind to fall, the greatest love of all, releasing yourself from the prison of control to enjoy the magic of joy of the birds and the bees and the flowers and the trees, the blessings and thanks of good food and company, the signs and synchronicities in heaven in your eyes, all the colors of the rainbow, in that one-to-one rainbow connection, going with the flow on the whispering bench, where you can carry on, holding space in the blue Madonna with gifts and a star over her head, and the King of Swords' diamond wings with 2 almonds' eye petals and 2 U's, and anointing each other in purity and innocence. Each new day clear the decks, living as if you just received a new lease on life, a new chance for a brand new life, as the strong beacon that you are, shining your light, come what may. And then may, right there came up the 44 of the card, which if you take 44 apart is 2 L's and 2 1's. The 2 right angles and the 2 1's are perhaps 11 and 77 upside down. But lots of parallel opportunities here to align and go with the flow. As Taurus holds their position in the North Node, blocking any turbulent waves that could come against you, Taurus is defending their position of Mother Earth and Terra Gaia. The cubits holding down the field as 11 cubits of the Queen, there's a different cubits, so the 11 cubits of the Queen's chambers is the C cubits, whereas the other cubits have to do with the quantum field. But the 11 cubits of the Queen's quarters, with plenty of room there in the purple moon, which is the 0 point field, from the 144, where 44 is grounding, integrating, and learning how to receive love, to the 18 of the purple moon, which is being at 0 point in every moment of pure bliss, crossing that bridge in the crossing that bridge in the activation of the heart, where the Page of Cups is birthing the new heart, the heart to the mother's core, to the sun's core, and then to the central sun. The tetragrammaton is broken up as a tetragram and atons, which is 4 grams falls, or a house to feed, a 4-letter word, and to see through the goldfish. Remember, the four-letter word is also making love, isn't it? The F word. To see through goldfish or terry cloth, irate us. To feed the autumn and the fall, or four irate flames or tones. So that can reference the anger of inflammation, and that you need to purge to let it all out, right? It's like just taking in food, you poop and pee it out. When you take in energy, you purge it out, like crying and sweating. It has to come out somehow. Those are your purges. So the clarion call to align, listen, note, and tone, healing the emerald heart of the Knight of Cups of being love, the chariot of water, water, water of infiltration, and being a friendly dolphin, for the King of Cups to detach from drama and look up at sunrise, the Knight of Swords with the key to freedom, going for the gold in a cup of replenishment, with sudden epiphanies of holy cups and crazy eights, to move through time-space, enjoying dual songs and poetic lyrical words, and the clarity on the shadow by showering in the diamond light, in the purple moon, and perhaps a bit of nighttime travel there with the orangutan or the forest man. So we have sunshine here. So fuel up with sunshine for your wings in the pentagon, dodeca icosa, to fly, as the underlying energy at 8:04 of the dance and the emperor. Wise study, social time, and then journey to the sun and wake-up call. The castle is where the pears, and then Paris came up as well right there. But 8:05, which is the dance, and then the 5 of freedom, expansion, and change. But it's also the Hierophant of commitment and guidance and societal norms. We have the 8 and the 5 together there too, which is greased lightning. The first column here is the castle and that cloud I showed you, which is where the pairs come together, or perhaps Paris, because that was coming up right there too. The pairs come together of the odds and the evens, the masculines and the feminines, with Saint Dolphin Lyra, or Mu in music, in the aqua rose gold heart of abundant blessings and thanks, and synchronicities between sand, or Sandalphon, sand for short, with a message of love and gratitude for the Knight of Cups, emerald green heart, healing, heart to heart. As the octohedron, the octo bird, flies and leads from winter to fall, going with the flow, 1 to 1, as the light reaches its destination, deep down under the sea, but perhaps Aussies too. So the key you are for double diamond lock to pollinate the mother and get the key, or the King of Cups, to open up in the purple moon of that 0-point field, not a moment too soon, as we journey on. Okay, and also August Osage County came up as the movie last night. And also May keeps coming up a lot as a trigger, so I don't know what's happening in May, but something's coming up. And again, a reminder that 8/8/23 is a significant date, as we discussed the other day, because there's a, I can't think of what it's called, every 20 years where something significant happens, 43, 63, 83, so 23 at Lionsgate, which can be between the 10th and the 14th, according to that video that I was watching, which I told you about the other day. But I think 8/8 is very significant this year, next year in 23. So going back to the read on the table then, where I got to move that picture out of the way. So thanks for bearing with me, and I hope my pictures were helpful today, because I put a lot of work into those pictures. Okay, so let's now take these off just one more time. So this is my old picture. Oh, I put that one up too, because this is my more recent picture that reused the pin again. So you can have a picture of that if you want to look at that more carefully to see what comes up for you. And if you have any questions about the pictures, just ask them in the comments. Okay, so this is something I posted more recently. So you have that picture, that one, and these two from today. Okay. All right. So now we're going to come back into this read here. Okay, so this is for the twin flame read. And let's see what else came up here. This was cut and dealt at 9:36 at night. The 9 is the Hermit. The 36 is the Atlas and the Weight of the World. It was just 1:05 on the dot right then. The Magician and Freedom. Magician embodiment, freedom. And 6:56 on the clock, the Lovers, and that 56, which is that higher energy of the 5 to the 6, of the pentagon to the hexagon of the DNA. All right, so I cut the deck at 9:36. There's that 369 reference as well. Oh, that came up too with the 2022 year being the 4 digits. It's 36912, but it's coming up as the 6 is not coming up. It's coming up as 0 because we're in the 4D right now. It's coming up as the 0 point moment. So it's not the 6, it's the 0 because we're in the moment. So instead of 36912, it's coming up as 30912, which is why it's 2022 and not 2222. That was an interesting reference as well. So at 9:51, which is the Hermit, and the 51 of the King of Swords, Ion came up, which means connection. Relationship change, environment, love, partnership also came up here. And it was broken up into relationship change, environment, there the virus getting in again comes up, and then the love partnership came up as partnership or PA partnership, and I'm in Pennsylvania, so of course I referenced that. I finished clarifying at 10:14, which is the Wheel of Fortune and the 14. 14 is the Temperance card of that higher love. And the major arcana for this read were Solar Deity, which is the Sun, Reason, which is the Emperor, and Ascension, which is the World. Before the read, Alchemy came up, which is the that's the Temperance card. And then Reflection, which is the Hermit, and the Hanging Man. After the read, the Chariot and the Moon, or Luna, came up. There were 3 cups, 2 wands, 2 swords, 1 pentacle. And the court cards in the read were the Page of Swords and the Page of Pentacles, along with the King of Swords. And after the read was the King of Pentacles. The 9 of Cups Sovereign was also in the read, but it's not a court card. The only double numbers today were the 33 of the Christ Unity Consciousness, the 7 of Wands, standing up for oneself. And we also at 8, 9, 10, begin again, referencing that cycle change of the 10. And then we have, in a lesser sense, 1, 2, 3, jump, and then 3, 4, 5 of the 3D, 4D, 5D, of going from the 3D to the 5D through the 4th density, which we're in now. We also had here 58, which is the 4 of Swords of that 5D connection. So the code line here is all about relationship change, environment, and love partnership, and the number 10, which is that high vibe and destiny. And again, the odd number with the even number. The code line is coming up as HI was the first 2 letters separately, as in hi, someone saying hi. To seek Atlas, King of Swords, at halftime. And the Horrors tax was coming up, which means no tax at all. And also Haiti and Hawaii were both coming up. And also hyper-threading here, which is referencing the pearl threaded and the double-eyed needle of the portals. So that was kind of interesting as well. And the hectotesla came up, HT. And magnetic flux density, which is 10 to the second Teslas. So it was also coming up as, a lot of things were coming up, because Eye of Iodine was coming up in hydrogen, of course. And then Hawaii and Haiti, the ash of the light and the disease, to eliminate the root, the tooth, the laughter, and the nay. The wild cards, and that was interesting because these were just symbols of the wild cards here in some kind of numbers, front vowels and high vowels, but they were labeled as Q and Phi, the symbol for Phi, which is literally this very similar, right? Q and Phi are a circle with a line. The line is just placed in a different spot. And then the second wild card came up as the letter E, the capital E, with the capital I with a line down the middle, which are the same thing. It's just a movement of one line. How cool is that? They're very similar. So there's 2 wild cards that are coming up that are similar. and the different ways that things can be similar was very interesting there. To have sex, to hit, note, the B and the Z of yod, the electrical current of intention and inertia, the ego in seeking to dump a load perhaps, or mastering thoughts and words, and blind men and orphans, the 2 to the 2nd degree of Teslas, and the rod, which is 100 MHW or 52.5 meters, the location of mind and life force, a generation. So it was very profound the way that was coming up. And the movie 83 came up, which was about the Indian team that beat the West Indies cricket team, which how cool is that movie just came up, as I just got that download about the cricket guy. And I know nothing about cricket. So they were telling me something about cricket, and then I got to watch this movie, which I didn't know it was cricket. I just opened the movie and watched it. So that was really cool. So, getting into this read regarding relationship change, environment, and love partnership here. And it took me back to the movie, because this was back in 1983 when India won against the West Indies. And it's a beautiful movie. You really should watch it if you haven't. And it's called 83. So lation here was coming up as motion of a celestial object from one place to another. Local motion. Regarding acceleration of celestial ship here was coming up as from the cards from the numerology deck. Regarding acceleration of celestial ship. So we're talking about a spaceship moving here. And we were just talking a lot about how to fly a spaceship with Dan Winter. And then JC was coming up here as the virus cell that gets, right, just like the bacteria gets into the clam or the oyster, the JC is the virus cell of mind and spirit, to save and exempt, to love as the Father, without or not counting, without the kiss, without the liver, bread, or head was coming up, without the windmill, the blade, or the incisors, or the tooth. And then 10-4 was coming up, message received, to finish, under, over, through, or along, from, into, water, and then number 3 was coming up as well. Eventually in the future and the past, the pig and the friend, to kill, to murder, to execute, getting wish, or extinguish, to stop, smash open, and to tell. So to convey, to beat, to gain and make, to earn, as India wins in the movie right at that moment. Like to earn, they really earned that moment. And it was in slow motion as I watched the movie. It was really cool. To convey, to beat, gain and make, to earn, to be in a state of calm. And that's another thing that always amazes me, because the Indian men are so polite and kind and patient, right? That's what, for me, you have to watch the movie. It was just a really beautiful movie. To be in that state of calm, to be tight and bald, leg and foot also came up here, and here we're talking about cricket. And boy, is that a violent sport when they're mad at each other. And I don't understand why the rules allow them to hurt each other that way. But the grandfather, the father, and the cousin all coming up here. And in the end, all comes out even and right with the world. And then the retro trapezoid nucleus came up with RTN and the Mercy ship. A thin layer that's not very densely packed of neurons lying between the facial nucleus and the ventral surface of the medulla, which senses as a CO2 and H+ sensor for regulating of breathing. Regarding the acceleration of the celestial ship and a single virus cell of JC, of mind and spirit, right, allowing him to infect you. The JC of mind and spirit infection to save and exempt. And it doesn't have to be Jesus Christ, but it's even these Indian men who are such, beautiful, loving people here, to allow that kind of energy to infect you, the love, without and not counting the kiss, the liver, the bread, or the head, or the blade, or the windmill of the swastika, and the 10-4 of message received, plus the 3 to make an odd and even number with the 4, to finish over, under, through, and along, from and into the water, die and buy, yet still, even if, so what? To give eventually in the future and the past, the pig, the friend, to kill, murder, execute, or extinguish, to stop, smash open, or to tell and convey, to beat and gain, to make and earn, as India winds in slow motion, to be in a state of calm, to be tight, bald, a leg or foot, a father, a grandfather, a cousin, in the end, all even, and all is right with the world, in the retrotrapezoid nucleus, regulating breathing on this mercy ship, which was that movie so much. So a really beautiful message there, and Spirit's connecting like crazy right now. So we started out here in the underlying energy, which the bottom of the deck is right here with the mini cards on top. At 12:46 a.m., this was the 12 of the hanging man, the 46 of the children hugging each other, that loving energy of winning a game, right? And the 3 of cups as the top card reversed, and beneath that, and my smoke is still smoking there. I couldn't get those to light at all. Like they'd burn it, like I'd light them, I'd sit there for a minute lighting it up and it wouldn't stay lit. They'd go out every time. And I hadn't lit it up in a little bit. And all of a sudden it burned the whole thing, I think. There's something about today. So 3 of cups reversed, and beneath that is the Ace of Swords upright, the Alchemy card upright, Reflection reversed, and the Hanging Man reversed, and the 4 of Swords upright with the 3 of cups reversed on top. And before I even started this, then I was getting Henry VIII I am, seeking Atlas, King of Swords, at the height of relationship change, of green environment and love relationship. This was coming up as the message on the code line. Henry VIII I am seeking Atlas, King of Swords, at the height of relationship change, of green environment and love relationship. The truth just below the surface, alchemizing here, not reflecting, wide awake and then suddenly sleeping. After out with friends and too much to drink perhaps, or a funeral service, or not coming today, or sleeping with third party, the burden of the King of Swords, Sagittarius, Virgo, Capricorn, without an option, and reaping rewards of the High Priestess without peace, falling to come clean, or to clean up the act in separation or heartbreak, a disappointment or bad weather perhaps. In the past, not sharing frustrations or sudden appearance at work, of third party gone in a puff of smoke, in the sunshine energized, kids, pet, Leo, and ego, and diamond light and full exposure to third party or about third party, or a drunk night out with the Emperor reversed, the King of Wands reversed, and the King of Swords reversed, now awake to the gates of hell, or drove over the gate threads the wrong way and ripped their tires, or ego, idea, or their head in a vacuum, trying to end the nightmare, the suffering in silence, or perhaps the sister, the stress, the lack of sleep, so that the Knight of Pentacles can work or help and move on. The luck of the Irish and the pink blankie, or their drapes, in gravity-free zone, under the covers. And I was getting that as a response to my under the covers comment. I guess it was last week, where and at your Sweet 16, where you say every comment at the Sweet 16 and then under the covers after it. So someone's been doing that. So the luck of the Irish and the pink blankie, or the drapes, in gravity-free zone under the covers, and then the Knight of Pentacles, the dark horse, on the way with the green dress, the silk or materials, in the countryside looking for land that's unpolluted, gate-free, gravity-free, without trees to cut down, with nice open fields with a view for miles around, or a compound perhaps, feeling like being sucked upwards, or hair on end. The Knight of Pentacles leaving the gated community, or the wastelands, or getting clean and healthy. Not sharing, inequity, debt, scam, or imbalance. The Queen of Swords is speaking their truth about floating the gold coin, or the Earth Star chakra, or unity consciousness, and going nuts, or coming out after too much reflecting. A view to a kill, or putting a little into new curtains, or a view of the city from far away. And the Queen of Swords with materials or fabric of our lives, and the gold coin, to move through space and time, enjoying dueling songs or poetic rhyming words, urgently energized by unending flowering or flowering of breaking out in unending song. the liquid rose gold of the heart, and the point of liquefaction at the portal of how happy tears are created, of bliss, and that 22 ILD, of the fool's journey, of flames and their strong will, of the 1-1, or the union. Remember that the 22 ILD is the reflection of bliss, literally the word the other way around. The 22 is the journey in the ILD, the fool's journey of flames and their strong will, of the 1-1, literally spelled O-N-E, which is the same thing as the union, but more clear here, as the sands of time, and yes, you're welcome, all is the definitions here of 1, 2, 3 jump, for the jump, the kickstart to get you going. So true love comes up here in the underlying energy at 124, which is the Magician and the Queen of Wands, which 24 is also Omega, the end of the cycle on a more community level, as opposed to the 81 is the end of karma on a worldwide level. So true love, and beneath it engagement, perhaps your relationship is stepping up in level. After the King of Cups reversed and the Queen of Cups upright, perhaps without a place to go out and eat, or night and day, or Cancer and Leo, naked in the mountains, reflecting codependencies, or a double date with lobster, a fifth wheel perhaps, and found their pearl, a time in the sun, or vacation making love, or twins like Patty Duke, different as night and day, as the Knight of Wands reversed and the Page of Wands reversed. The little devils are out of control, and Capricorn reversed may be done trying to mark their territory, with that Linda Evans, like JR, the two players playing the power couple, or ending love and burning down the house. No more rescuing or making boo-boos better, or done with raves and orgies or nudist colonies here. Perhaps done exploring and ready to settle down, with following your dreams at 85, which is the reflection of 58, the connection in the 4D or 5D, or grounding the 5D union, and then adventure is 55 of the truth. So aqua and turquoise, bringing 5D down to earth, as the Fool is reversed, taking the fall to self-satisfaction and reaping rewards in energetic exchange or hours of love, or just lots of communication and travel with the Queen of Cups, longing, and the Queen of Swords with the light. Third party, and the best of both worlds perhaps, or two daughters who look like angels but are overindulging or gossiping, or antisocial behavior, or putting themselves above a third party, or being bad influences, or the Queen of Cups and the Queen of Swords on a cruise overdoing it, or being snobs, or going to prom and dressing to the nines, or all dressed up with nowhere to go, with love to offer and the light, or watching Bridgerton or other elite type series, or times when women had pretty dresses but no choices and unhappy with their options at 141, the Magician, and self-love, spiritual love, and new love of the Ace of Cups. Perhaps there's a third party times 2, or no reunion times 2, or bad influences times 2, or two groups of gossips and the Knight of Pentacles moving on to offer the Hermit reversed and the Devil reversed, or Virgo and Capricorn both reversed, to follow their dreams and ground union. And remember, when I bring up the signs reversed, sometimes that can mean it's just in their makeup, but it's not their sun sign. So with the at 151 is the Magician and the King of Swords again, with the World complete, or Divine Feminine or Pisces presenting the truth to the wounded warrior who's surrendering, lacking faith or foolish and standing up for themselves about failure or having bled out on the table, or bled out in bliss and being vulnerable or rejected and dissatisfied, recovering from a loss or regret, or the patient angel with issues at work or third party, or needing to co-create at 159, the Magician, and that moment before the hour, or that war within, right? The anticipation of what's to come. That's the war. But that's the 99th degree. You'll never reach it. You will never reach the end. The recent past is the Page of Swords upright with a handle on the truth, to one who's slaving away for the Empress upright on a break at 202, or on a rest, or 5D connection, or sleeping, perhaps with the Warrior, or Cancer standing up to defend to difficult kids or a negative past, and the Knight of Wands reversed, a bad influence, and the wounded warrior surrendering to them at night, or romance with Cancer and Sagittarius here. With the King of Cups reversed calling, or announcing, or a wake-up call, or judgment of the Hermit reverse coming out to end conflict at night, in romancing the Stone, or Cancer. The foundation here is the Nine of Cups reversed. Dissatisfied, patient, Angel, or Sagittarius, getting over it, overworked, or it didn't work out. Recovering offer, or receiving an offer of big love in exchange for time, money, and effort, or offer of a new life to the Queen of Pentacles upright here. And there was a whistle there too. The central energy is the soul or deity, fully energized and exposed. Players got justice in the end of the war, as the Knight of Wands reversed and the Wounded Warrior reversed are not fully seen, and the King of Swords reversed perhaps taken in to justice system, or Libra with clarity about a divorce, spirituality, or Taurus reversed, recovering or coming in from out of the cold, to divorce, a break in contract, religion, or establishment, or just being more outside the box. Perhaps two Tauruses, both reversed, with Cancer upright here, and Libra too, but perhaps with negative self-talk and challenged by the Ten of Wands, slave labor, or burdens and responsibilities, or weight and the world, or just carrying too much. Perhaps they awoke to resistance, or thought they could avoid until it went away, and the Knight of Cups offering love to the Ten of Cups family, and the Magician, Master Manifester, or Gemini or Virgo, and Atlas leaving the Wounded Warrior behind, but doing it under the radar, in a twist of fate, or Libra reversed, feeling of failure, and Capricorn or Pisces reversed, and Scorpio reversed, offering some love to the Ten of Cups family, perhaps to get their help. Awake to big love and missed opportunity, or the Page of Cups reversed, no longer punishing themselves, or letting the Hanging Man or Magician manipulate them. In a need of peace and kept quiet, no longer obsessing over the Chariot, Cancer, move, car, or travel, or Tubal split with the Knight of Cups upright, offering love to the High Priestess, King of Pentacles, with Sovereign reversed and Knight of Wands reversed, which definitely can be children who are misbehaving or upset about something. Perhaps dependent spending by the female bull, and the Knight of Cups upright, Pisces or Scorpio, and Cancer, or Divine Feminine with secrets on the King of Pentacles, and the Sovereign reversed and the Knight of Wands reversed, kids up to no good at 245, the High Priestess, and again the purging process there. And now is the Eight of Cups walking away within, frustrated with the Knight of Swords rushing in with the truth or deliveries from issues at work or from third party, and destined to pray or meditate or grieve, as the Queen of Wands reversed is overindulging or a bad influence of third party, and Libra looking back at a missed opportunity, or the Page of Pentacles reversed who's in need of help, and perhaps they now need to start helping them. With the Ten of Wands caught in the woods or the weeds, losing their mind or coming out, needing strength and courage or better health, without affection or in a breakup, or Leo reversed and Gemini reversed, announcing a death or dark night of the soul, or the clarion call home, in the avoid dance, in losing battle or a losing battle, or being a sore loser, with the Queen of Wands upright and the King of Wands reversed, depressed over third party or after drinking too much, or Aquarius reversed, released from energy prison, with the Page of Swords stepping it up, or a message from fantasy family, business, or community, bored or grounding, integrating, and mastering a message of an offer of love or kindness, and the Wounded Warrior in surrender, dissatisfied or arrogant, but not getting their way. Soon here is the Emperor reversed, being unreasonable or without reason, and the King of Pentacles no longer confused about their partnership, and ending the stress, sleepless nights, and suffering in silence. Juggling, performing endlessly, the Knight of Pentacles upright offering help to the Ten of Pentacles, family, business, or community, perhaps doing overtime or a second job, and it's not working out, with the Queen of Cups uninspired, or with the Page of Wands reversed all over the place. And the King of Pentacles upright connecting with the Emperor reversed, perhaps having a hard time, while the Knight of Pentacles and the Sovereign reversed, it could be siblings, are with the Ten of Pentacles, family, business, and community, and they are spending or taking care of the Sovereign reversed, while the Knight of Pentacles or King of Pentacles offering a little help, or offering little help, compared to what they have. But perhaps the Ten of Pentacles business or community is the Ten of Pentacles, but they have 8 Pentacles of debt or business expense, or the Knight of Pentacles is not getting much return on their investment. And the twin flames seeing themselves as the Page of Pentacles reversed, in need of help from the Queen of Cups upright and the King of Cups reversed, perhaps practical help or financial help, or missed an opportunity, or walking away feeling rejected, or having a hard time manifesting. Perhaps the Page of Cups reversed and the King of Cups reversed missed the Queen of Cups upright, or feeling neglected by her focusing on herself, or the Page of Cups reversed at a distance in the sun, or fully exposed and detoxing energetic exchange or hours of love, or all the communication and travel that they're doing, with the Emperor reversed, or a lack of control or out of control, abusing their power, or issues with a father or family with kids and ill father to boot. With lots of water here, Leo upright, Capricorn, and Aries reversed as well, it is safe to love very soon. Deception and attraction all here for the twins. Around the twins are how they're seen is the Three of Wands, looking back, depressed now that the worst is over, with the Page of Wands reversed, or frustrations, and the block being the King of Swords reversed, perhaps with counsel for the Ten of Pentacles family, business, or community, or perhaps doing their taxes, but releasing dependent or sovereign reversed, or cost a lot of money, with relationship change, environment, love partnership, but even more so karmic completion, with death, dark night, ending, or no longer inspecting every inch of the hostage in the caterpillar. So we have this energy of completion and coming full circle, with the Divine Feminine or Pisces, home or union, at 311, which is the Empress and alignment, or justice of truth and balance, and the High Priestess, King of Pentacles, with the Sovereign reversed and the Knight of Wands reversed, and the Wounded Warrior reversed, surrendering to awakening or just not sleeping, or in a bold move to travel or move. Pisces and Cancer, and surrendering to it all, perhaps to the King of Pentacles at night, or in a romance here with Cancer in a losing battle, or ending a fight and recovering from exile, injury, or illness, or destitution, or having felt left behind, but recovering from all that. So there's your read. So let's just pull a few quick cards since we've gone long here already. So let's just do the energy deck and we'll do a Journey of Love card. So what is our takeaway from all this? It's very smoky in here. What is our takeaway? Oop, that came right up. Angel of Love, focusing on the heart and be very sweet and innocent and pure. The 49 of getting your wish and taking a step back to see the bigger picture of the world. The 29 is being present in the moment to your gifts. Look at that. 2 little angels here. Wow. Look, the bottom of the deck here is the Angel of Strength. It's that mother of strength, of that lioness energy, but angelic at the same time, with the 50 of the happy family, right? And we do have the 10 of Cups upright in the read, but then not only do we have these little angels here, right? And we have the 48 and the 49 of walking away within and getting your wish. These are people learning how to meditate and find themselves, right? Be happy, not get mad and pissed off. You know, kids learning how to find their balance. And then we have victory here of the twins, of the 28, of choosing a new path and finding peace, perhaps with the kids here. Okay. There's a lot of feminine energy here, of the little ones finding peace and victory here. And victory of, like, the Indians, the Indian over the West Indies achievement, right? From the men who are very much about Namaste, right? And then the garden and the gate of the 30 of the home and union here. Perhaps there's one little girl who still needs to figure out how to fly like the butterflies out there, not be afraid to go outside. There's a lot of little girls here. And then here's that happy family of the Emperor. But the Emperor, I think, is reversed. Yeah. So I don't know if this... There is Ten of Cups energy here, because that came up with the other card here. This comes up with the Ten of Cups here. So this is happy. This is a strong mama here, taking care of the litter, right? Taking a step back to see the bigger picture with all the children here. To take care of the little ones here. A lot of little girls here coming up, finding peace. Little girls and older teenage girls and 20-year-olds here. But then we have the Emperor who's reversed. This is reversed. So the Emperor side of the family may not be doing as well, right? They may have taken a fall here. That also could be a parent or grandparent who's having a tough time and they're taking care of them. This could be energy of like a teacher or the classroom too, like bringing their spiritual teachings into their actual classroom at school and helping some of the kids find peace and balance. And it may be really good. But again, we have this Emperor energy of being like reversed. This is really positive energy here, but there's this Emperor of either losing their control, abusing their power, or stepping down from power or being forced out of power as well. This could be new. Oh, that's a message of the schools are starting to change. All of a sudden, all the new stuff is coming into the schools, and they're allowing the new way to happen. And this is like the old principle going away. Oh, that's a good message. All right, let's see what the journey of love has here. All right, so from the journey of love. And again, now I'm getting the Saturn and Jupiter energy of Sagittarius and Capricorn here. Again, that's that even odd of the 3 and the 4. They're showing me that. They have to fit together, pairs. Things come in pairs. The eruption of light. There's the alignment again. This is Hieroskamos. Right, that's hitting that perfect alignment and then shooting straight up. And this feeling is when I was in the south of France at that retreat with Mercedes Kirkle, which was a wonderful retreat, by the way, if you ever want to experience that. We did an exercise one day in class where we were dancing back to back, and boy, did both of our energies shot right up in the air. Like I felt it when our backs touched and we were dancing, but then as soon as I put my head back to touch her head, the energy literally shot up like this. It was amazing. It was that kind of connection to everyone at that meet. Was there 7 or 8 of us? And I knew all of them before. It was a really profound trip for me. So we have the 12 of the Hanging Man here as well, the self-initiation. This is the back of this deck. See? So initiating self into that Hieroskamos energy, and there's the odd and the even again, the 11 to the 12. It's because this is the next step. We went through to the 9 and the 10, because we talked about the numbers 0 through 9 today, and now the next step is the 11 to the 12. The 11 of justice and the 12 of wisdom. This is self-initiation into the Hieroskamos, and then here's the 2 of, this is Gaia and the womb of Gaia underneath. And again, the war that's happening as well. So you see the pairing that's going on here, the earth and the sun. How beautiful is that? After I told you the tetragrammaton. This is Mother Earth, right? We're going from the heart, right? The heart of Source to Mother Earth. Well, it's really from your heart to the core of Earth and then up to the sun and then the central sun, which is the source energy. But when you write it down as the tetragrammaton, it comes up as the heart being Source, the Earth's core being the mother, the sun being the father, and then back to that central sun, which is the source energy, which is the child. So it's coming up Source, mother, father, child as the tetragrammaton. That was really cool. So here's the pair of the 11 and 12, and then the pair of Earth, Terra Gaia, and then the sun. and the central sun. So everything's in pairs. They're showing us how they go together. This is also referencing literally the penis and the vagina. This is the eruption of the masculine and the receiving of the feminine in the swirl. You see that? Again, showing you the pair, how everything fits together in pairs. That's really beautiful. And then we have the Shakti energy here too. And this is like the peace of the womb and the war of the masculine on the earth, in the earth, and on the earth. And then we have the bottom of the deck here of the distant shores again of the 4 purple moons, which ends up in June. And the purple moon, the distant shores of the third eye and the emerald heart. Okay, let's read this one here. So the first one out was 11, Eruption of Light. We have the Eruption of Light along with this was the first card out here. This is pure innocent energy here of getting your wish, your dreams coming true, of Hieroskamos, and the number 11 of alignment. Your every prayer is a powerful packed eruption of light beamed into the divine presence. Some pray with fear or doubt, as though the prayer isn't doing much at all, and yet you understand that prayer is powerful, that it is divine action set in motion. Your power of divine prayer emerges from your heart and out through your throat, whether you speak or sing your prayer silently within your own mind, or aloud for all the world to hear. Let your prayers be vocalized as feeling expressed to the divine, in words or song if you choose. You have the power to heal at your fingertips and vocal cords. Through your voice you can heal. Let your hands be joined in prayer position at your heart, and your mouth open to let the breath of your spirit move through your throat, creating sound. As you speak it, so shall it be. This oracle holds a message for you. Your words have more power than you may realize, and you may have a special ability to heal with words, to bring light where it is needed, and to uplift through simple kindness spoken. You also have a message to bring. It might be an urge to write or speak on topics that are close to your heart. You may also simply have the need at a soul level to share from the heart with others when you're engaged in conversations. This oracle says your voice is part of your power, so do use it. Life begins with love to complete itself again. Symmetry is born. And how perfect is that regarding what we talked about today, right? To complete itself again, which is the enveloping of the donuts within inside themselves, and the symmetry of the pairs of the 3 and the 4 and the 5 and the 6. And then to complete itself again with me bringing the 10 to the beginning of the number scale of 1 to 10. So we start with the 10, then go to 1 to 9. Yeah, a lot of cool stuff all coming together. I hope you were able to stay with me on that one. I know it's a lot of technical information, but if Spirit brings it to me, I got to bring it to you. Somebody will get it, and if you don't get it, it doesn't matter, because there'll be something in you that gets it, and then you'll get another message down the road, and you'll understand it because of what you just received. So you don't have to understand everything that you get. Remember your water. I was getting reminded myself, water, water, water today, and get your rest as much as you can. Another message that came up about me not getting my rest, because I told you I've been like at least 1 night a week lately. I've been not being able to sleep. But I felt like it was because when I don't sleep one night, then the next night I sleep really well. And I feel like they're doing that to me on purpose so that they have more time in my sleep state all in one jaunt. So I don't know if that's happening for you, but that's a message that came to me. So remember your water, your rest, your joy in your nature. Try to get a laugh in there every day. And yeah, enjoy yourself. It's really cold. I'm waiting for spring, but it's really freezing outside. I didn't even want to go out for my run today. Any which way, rise and be love, you guys. Breathe. I'll see you soon.